Item: SCP-1175. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures: due both to its current immobility and public appearance, SCP-1175 can only be contained in a limited fashion on site. A mobile observation outpost, designated OP-1175-1, is to be maintained at the edge of effect, changing locations at least once within each 24-hour period. Research into more permanent containment procedures is ongoing. Until they can be instituted, the site's public function is to remain active with modified hours of 10 o'clock a.m. to 5 p.m. local time, Wednesday through Monday, with on-site Foundation agents dressed as civilian private security to ensure all unauthorized individuals are removed from the premises before dusk. Description: SCP-1175 is the central display of the park, an open-air artistic installation located in, redacted, and covering a fenced-in area approximately 0.25 kilometers square. The anomalous properties of the affected objects are only active between sunset and sunrise. For reasons unknown, there is a 35% chance that the objects will become active at random intervals on Tuesdays, and thus the park is to remain closed on this day. SCP-1175-1 is a representation of a bull's head, 18.28 meters tall, made of welded cast iron plates and painted red. Upon initial creation, SCP-1175-1 was hollow, but current observation indicates the presence of machinery or some other form of activity within the structure. Specifically, attempts at radar and sonographic imagery have given inconclusive results, alternately showing the structure to be solid metal or to have a lack of any physical material whatsoever, including the shell. Since the appearance of SCP-1175's anomalous features, SCP-1175-1 itself has become completely immobile. See Incident Report 1175-2, with subterranean imagery showing pillars extending vertically, extending at a rate of approximately 0.6 meters per year. The purpose of these pillars is not currently known, though they have currently reached a length of meters, indicating an initial growth period of advanced speed. SCP-1175-2 is the group designation of a series of 6 statues, each 2.59 meters tall, constructed of various metals in the shape of a human skeleton with a goat's skull. Each statue carries a weapon, one carrying a staff, one a glaive, two with short swords, and two with modified sickles. These statues become mobile during active periods, acting in a fashion similar to guards for SCP-1175-1. They are not outwardly hostile to humans, though one or more will often remain in close proximity to any intruder to whom they have not been introduced. See Addendum 1. SCP-1175-2 will only become hostile in 2 situations. The first being if a non-introduced individual attempts to make contact with SCP-1175-1, or if any individual attempts to damage it, or if any individual attempts to remove SCP-1175-2 or another installation from the park. At this point, whether or not they are in a currently active state, all instances of SCP-1175-2 will immediately emit sounds described as screaming or screeching and attack that person and either kill them outright or chase them to the edge of the affected area. If the targeted person or persons are killed, their remains are brought to SCP-1175-1, at which point a hinged portion of its mouth will open. No such feature was present in its initial construction, and the remains are placed inside before it closes. It is currently not known what occurs after this, as remote video and audio equipment lose all contact once the mouth closes. Alternately, If any structure of human construction is erected within a 0.9 km radius of SCP-1175-1 and remains standing for longer than 24 hours, upon activation all instances of SCP-1175 2 except for one will again emit the screeching noises and run to the construction at speeds up to 75 km per hour. Upon reaching the new structure, they will proceed to attack it with provided weapons as well as fists and their horns until the structure is completely demolished, similarly attacking any humans who attempt to interfere. This reaction does not appear to be triggered by repairs, modifications or extensions to structures which existed within the area of effect at the time of its appearance. This consists of the park itself including its outer fence and office gift shop, approximately 0.2 kilometers of state highway, redacted, that intersects the area, and one abandoned shack since damaged beyond repair during a blizzard, later destroyed without incident. SCP-1175-2 have shown signs of individual intelligence and appear to be able to communicate to each other, using lower decibel levels of noises similar to their attack calls. No variances or patterns have emerged and attempts to initiate communications have thus far proven ineffective. SCP-1175-2 also appear to ignore non-human life, even in instances where birds or rodents have been observed directly defacing structures within the park during active periods. Superficial and structural damage to SCP-1175-1 will repair itself through unknown means. Addendum 1175-1 SCP-1175 was first brought to Foundation attention on when 3 local youths broke into the park at night and interacted with SCP-1175-2 during its active state. Foundation agents were made aware of the situations when local authorities had assumed the suspects to be under the influence of hallucinogenic substances due to a well-publicized raid on a narcotics supplier in the neighboring town of Redacted. After application of Class B amnestics, the suspects were given suggestive memories that they must have consumed food that was tainted with the narcotics. Extensive questioning of GP, owner of the park and creator of all pieces of art therein, has revealed that he was not responsible for the anomalous activities and is not aware of how they began. However, he was aware of their existence for approximately 1 month before the above incident but never reported them to authorities or family members out of fear. It has also become apparent that SCP-1175-2 somehow recognize Mr. P as their creator or as an authority in some other fashion. They obey requests and commands from him to an extent, and if he introduces an individual as a friend, SCP-1175-2 will ignore the individual from that point on, including allowing them to directly touch SCP-1175-1, as this ability to introduce others has not yet been successfully passed to other individuals. P has been designated as SCP-1175-3, but retained as director of the park to maintain public appearances and to facilitate Foundation activities. He is kept under constant surveillance, but has thus far not attempted to impede Foundation agents in any way and has proven himself willing to offer any support or information he is able. Addendum 1175-2, Incident Report 1175-1102. On Foundation personnel attempted to remove SCP-1175-1 from the park, despite having been assembled off-site and transported to its current locations. All attempts to move the structure failed, culminating in the destruction of a crane regulated to lift up to approximately 20 times the weight that SCP-1175-1 weighed at the time of installation. Attempts to excavate the ground beneath SCP-1175-1 or remove other structures from the park were repeatedly interrupted by SCP-1175-2, though not to the level of hostility if the anomalous pieces are attacked directly. It has been decided that, until more stringent protocols are able to be enacted, all material is to remain on site with additional Foundation agents for security. A nominal raise in park admission fees has been added to compensate for the expenditures.